I've got my reference photo right next to me. I've got my chart that I just finished with the colors that I'm using for complementary colors. And I've got my paper towel so that I can rinse out my brush when I need to and then dab it onto the paper towel. And I've got my color palette. So you saw me mix the green. Now I've got to mix my mixed black, which is ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And you want to make sure it's mixed well so that it won't create different variations of the value that you're using or the shade of the color that you're using. Because if you pick up one section that's more blue, it's going to make the red more purple. And if you pick up one section that is more brown, it's going to make it a more, a less intense value or contrast. Okay, now I'm going to wipe off my paintbrush. I've got my white, titanium white to make tints and shades. I may end up having to put another thing of white down when I get to that point. But I'm going to do, in my picture, I'm doing red and green. So I can either use red in the background and green on my pear, or I can do green in the background and red on my pear. So I'm going to go with red in the background, and it'll be pretty much the same as when we did the monochromatic color scheme at the top. So I'm choosing to do red. So I'm going to do values of red. I've got my paint tape, the section taped off. So I'm going to take a little bit of the black and some red and mix it together. And remember that I'm painting towards the pear so that I'm not paint under the tape. You can use as big a brush as you want to that you feel comfortable that you can get in and around the object. Remember, you want your cast shadow to be dark enough so that you can see it through the paint for now. And I'm going to continue adding red as I go down. Then I'm going to wash off my brush to start adding tints into it. Okay. And I'm going to dab it off onto the paper towel and pick up some white and some red and start creating a gradation, a gradual value change as it goes down to the bottom of the painting. You'll probably find it's easier to blend the more you've been doing it. So when you get to the fourth painting, you'll probably be a pro. Blending it in. It's kind of dry already, so I'm going to put a little bit more red into my brush to make it a gradual change into the background. Okay. Okay. I'll wash my paintbrush off. Now I'm going to use greens dark to light on my pear. So if we're looking at the reference photo, it's dark around the edge right here. But I'm going to start by doing a light green in the middle. I'm going to actually fill up the whole pear with that one tint to start out with. I go around the edge of it, and then I fill it in the middle. I don't pick up my brush until I'm done with that edge, so it'll be a nice sharp edge. So that's green mixed with white. Alright, so I want to go back in and do my cast shadow with a value of the magenta. Okay, so get some dark red to fill up. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to also go in and put my darker values of the green. So I'm going to wash my paintbrush off. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to start out with a darker green along the edge over here. And then it kind of leaves an area of reflection down here at the bottom. Then at there's a shadow right there, and then there's an area of reflection right here. I'm doing this side. Blend this out. Okay. Let that dry for a little bit. Now I'm going to do the stem. I'm going to make this much darker up here. I turn my paintbrush sideways, or it's more of a point rather than a flat brush. And just fill it in for now. Alright, it needs to dry a little bit. Now I'm going to go over the cast shadow again. And make it darker right up against it. Feather it out. The more contrast you have, the better it's going to look. And then you want to feather it out with a tint. So that it's not so abrupt. Okay, the pear is dark enough, dry enough that I can go back in and make it higher contrast. So I'm going to go in and put more values. Okay. More of a shadow here, and it needs more of a shadow over here. Alright, so I'm basically just kind of using just straight green on top of this. And then dark green on the stem. And another layer of dark values. I didn't mean to put red in it. Now I'm getting it too much the same value in the middle here. And just keep playing with it until you get the shade you want it to be. I'm going to come back over here with some green. Okay, let me let that dry. I want to put in some more of the background. So I'm going to make this more red up here. Cut in around the stem. And then let it gradually change. All right, and then I want to add some more white. All right. All right, so let's put some green and white together to do the highlights. You need to make sure your paintbrush is clean. I have red in it. I don't want red in it. So you want your both paintings to be consistent with where the shadow is and where the highlights are and where the shadows are on the pear. So either I'm going to have to do more work to my green one or more work to my monochromatic one. And I do think there's some I need to do on my monochromatic one, but I'll wait and do that at the end when I need to make adjustments to all of them. You need to make sure that you're looking at your reference photo the whole time so that you're doing the way it looks like and not the way you think it looks. Okay, so you see that little patch right there? That means I'm not waiting long enough for it to dry. Okay, so I've got to walk away from that. I am going to go ahead and take this tape off. Remember, you have to do it very slowly or it will tear the painting that you just got done with or the paper that you hadn't started on yet. So you want to do it very, very slowly when you're pulling it off. So we went under a little bit. See where it's tearing paper right there? You don't want that to happen to your painting. So you got to make sure that you go back in. Go back this other way. So you have to be careful. So it pulled tape right here, pull the paper up right here and here, and you don't want that to happen to your painting. Okay, so I'll make these touch-ups at the end, but now I think we're going to go to the, I don't know if it's a split complementary and analogous, but we'll go to the next step in just a minute.